going to be my review of supervillain team-up, Modok's 11. Now, Modok's 11 came out during the events of World War Hulk, where the story is written by Fred Van Lente and Francis Portalia? I hope I'm saying that last name right. But the story, like I said, takes place during World War Hulk, and the story basically is that Modok has been kicked out of AIM. He's been driven out of AIM, and he wants to get his revenge. And he found the device to use, but he's called the help of 10 other supervillains. So counting himself, it's 11. It's kind of like Ocean's 11, but with supervillains. And there's some really obscure villains in here. We got Mentallo, the Spot. I mean, all of them are like, well, hardly ever known villains. I think the one with the best that is best known is the Chameleon. But yeah, he's not really in this story per se. He's not in here a lot. But the story it's an action comedy. It is literally an action comedy. It is so much fun. Most of you guys don't know this, but I'm actually a big fan of Modok. I actually really love the character of Modok. He's just so much fun, and I get excited every time I see Modok. Also, I've kind of made this observation. Fred Van Lente loves using AIM. He loves using AIM or Modok or anything. I mean, seriously, go look at any of his work, and one way or another, you'll find that AIM was somewhere in here, or Modok was somewhere in here. But like I said, this is more of an action comedy than it is an action thriller story. The villains are all brought together. They're all D-list villains, and they're all brought together, and Modok says, I'll pay you $10 million if you help me steal this device called the Hypernova, which is really difficult how they find it, and it's like basically an infinite energy source. That's the best way I could describe it. It's really cool. They have to steal it from this alien race that can actually, that exists outside of time and space, and it's really confusing. The dialogue in here is really good. I love the dialogue between all the characters. I think my favorite three, because then, like all supervillains, everyone's getting backstabbed. Chameleon's working for AIM, and it's a super adaptoid, not the real Chameleon. And we've got Rocket Racer, who's working for S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm spoiling some stuff, but this comic's been out, so yeah. I don't want to spoil everything, but a lot of the villains do backstab Modok, and some of them do stay loyal. Only about three of the villains stay loyal to Modok, and it has a hilarious ending, especially some of the dialogue with Modok. The action in here is actually pretty good, and a lot of the characters go through story arcs, especially the character of Puma. He goes through, some interesting story arc. He goes through an interesting story arc as well. Living Laser is really cool. Deadly Nightshade, who's a very obscure Captain America villain. You've even got the Spot, who literally, like, one thing when they're talking about all the heroes they fought, out of nowhere the Spot goes, "I fought the Captain America once. The chick one too." Obviously, he's referring to Monica Rambeau. More or less, this is a story where it's not really important to follow, but it is a lot of fun. If you love, like, obscure villain stuff, like, obscure villains with fun action stuff, like Secret Six. Yeah, this is, I kind of wish this was kind of continued in Marvel. I really did wish that, something like this was continued in the Marvel comics following at least some of these villains that are still working for Modok, and bring in some other lesser-known supervillains together to fight other superheroes and stuff like that. I think that's what Fred Van Lente wanted from Modok's 11, is try to do a Marvel equivalent of Secret Six, but now we actually have that in Nick Spencer's Superior Foes of Spider-Man. So, in a sense, we did get that. It just took a few years, more or less. But yeah, if you're a fan of Modok, or just obscure villains, or looking for something fun, just something fun in general, I would highly recommend Modok's 11. It is nothing but a load of fun. It's just a lot of fun on the bun. That's literally all I could say. Some of the dialogue cracked me up while I was reading this comic book. Now, I got this for about $5 at a Books A Million. It was on one of the discount price, and I think it was the last one. I was like, I've heard so much about this comic, I want it. And it did not disappoint for a fun little mini-series. And also, Francis Portlay's artwork is really good. I really enjoyed his artwork in this comic. But anyway, not a very long review, because in a nutshell, it's just a lot of fun. If you're looking for like some fun action stuff, this is something I would highly recommend.